right,
Trail,
that's
nobody bothers.
fine.
Quiet. Weather wasn't that bad down there. We didn't really do what anybody said.
Okay,
Oh, just started meeting.
all right, we're gonna call the March 21st meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Backup? Here. Mr. Murray? Here. Mrs. Keeper?
Here, this time we'll do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, does any board members desire to add, delete, or separate any items of the consent agenda as proposed? No? All right, so I need a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented for the regular board meeting on March 21st, 2022.
So moved. Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Backup?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on February 22nd of 2022.
So support.
Roll call.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Backup?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, is there any board members with correspondence? Mr. Carroll? Mr. Small?
Yes, I received a notice of resignation for Mr. Ken Diamond effective at the end of the school year.
At this time, we have no registered guests to address the board. So Mr. Small, would you continue recognizing our guests and visitors?
Thank you for being here this evening. Could you please just introduce yourself?
Brady Roofer? Jane Curtis?
Jane Rinton.
Jonathan Miller.
Christy Schmidt. Dr. Doris Frankfurt.
Bill
Carry on.
Ivan Sloan?
Jared Schmidt.
Derek Stone?
Molly. Thank you. All right, Mr. Carroll, at this time, will you go over the financial reports?
Thank you. February financial reports, first one you'll see in our cash reconciliation. Followed by our financial summary. And you will see our disbursement summary. These are the checks that we have written during the month of February. Last packet is the cash summary. This is the balance and all of the funds that we have here at Evergreen. A couple reports for you. The general fund report is looking good. We are 67% of the way through this school year. And we're pretty much in line with our forecast right now. See our cash balance. We did just collect our real estate taxes, so you'll see that that matches last year. It is matching last year with a little bit of an increase. That is because we just received our real estate taxes. Back, you'll see the payroll and benefits compared to last year. We are in line, trending with last year. And the last graph you'll see here is a updated food service chart comparing the last 2 years. There's a lot that has changed in these 3 years, 2020 with the pandemic. If you look at food sales for students, that is the majority of everything that was collected, and you won't see anything for federal reimbursement. Starting in 2021, you will see that food sales for students went down significantly because we are being reimbursed and students are eating free breakfast and lunches. So you will see that in 2021, those numbers significantly higher for federal reimbursement. And in 2022, this is our first year with Topper. You can see those numbers, a pretty significant increase in money coming in. Below that is the expenses for those same 3 years. And right now we have brought in our food service program, $429,000, and the expenses are $428,000. So they are slightly ahead of breaking even. And you'll have a couple graphs underneath, just kind of comparing. You'll see our benefits and purchase services and those related expenses, just kind of as a visual there. on our agenda. I'm asking that you increase the food service appropriations $175,000. When I originally did the budget, I didn't know where we were gonna land with Topper and that kind of thing. So I just need to increase this, that way we can keep paying our bills. But as right now, revenue and expenses are right in line, which is great. You'll also see tax rates on this agenda. And that is basically from the county auditor and what each of our levies millage needs to be. And I basically pass that back to the county auditor so they can collect the appropriate rate. Our levy is still set for May 3rd as of right now. I did receive an email this morning that might change with some redistricting going on. So as soon as that either is set for May 3rd or changes, I will let you know. But that is something that we're all dealing with right now. So and the only other thing I have, last board meeting in February, we had put on for a resolution to accept school bus bids. And currently, there are a few companies that are allowing us to use last year's bid numbers. And in May, those are going to increase. So if we act a little quicker, next board meeting, we put a resolution on to accept the bid, then we are able to buy 3 school buses at a cheaper rate before the price goes up in May. And after we do that, and we pay for the buses and they're delivered, the state will reimburse us $135,000 for those buses. So it is a grant for this school year that from the Ohio Department of Education.
You had to buy 2 buses or something to get that grant.
3.
You had to buy 3.
And I can provide a little bit more information if needed, or if you have questions, I can answer those. But pretty good idea. We had budgeted for the school buses, and if we act a little bit sooner, then we can take advantage of 2. And one more thing is next month we will get our last income tax collection for this fiscal year. And as soon as I hear what those are, I will pass that information along.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Carroll?
Real quickly, concerning the food service, we're getting reimbursement now, correct? Federal reimbursement for breakfast and lunch for all students who participate.
Correct.
Do we got any indication at all what next year will bring?
Yes, that was gonna be part of my report, but right now it does not look like it will be federally funded. So the program will end June 30th.
Because that's helping us hit even, correct? So we'll have to look at how we get it better next year. Okay, thank you.
I guess just a follow-up question on Mr. Smith. How long is our contract with Taker?
It is a 1-year contract renewal for a total of 5 years. So we have to determine here this spring if we want to renew with them on that.
We want to authorize in the resolution.
He wants to do it next month, right? Correct. All right. Any further questions? All right, we'll move into the financial agenda. At this time, you're going to need a motion to approve our financial reports we just went over with Mr. Carroll, as well as accept the following donations: $100 donation anonymous to the Student Assistance Fund, $500 from Fulton County Cattle Feeder Association to the FFA, $1,000 from Fulton County Ohio Means Jobs, the class of 2023. We also need to approve the following appropriations, modifications, and to amend resources accordingly. An increase to the food services of $175,000, an increase to STEM grant of $5,000, and we need to accept the amount and rates determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor for fiscal year 23. This time, I just need a motion to approve the February 2022 financial reports and other financial items.
So moved. Support.
Any further questions? All right, roll call.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Beckler?
Yes.
Mr. Hurry? Yes. Mrs. Stevens?
Yes, motion carries. We'll move on to the personnel. At this time, we're going to need to rescind and offer the following supplemental contract for the 21-22 school year pending completion of all pupil activity permit requirements. For Trevor Schindorf, we're going to rescind his baseball freshman coach that we approved in February, and looks like Dustin Hudick will be taking over the baseball freshman coach. We need to accept the resignation of Ken Diamond, high school science teacher, for the purpose of retirement. Mr. Diamond's resignation will become effective on May 31st of 2022. Mr. Diamond's service to our students and the school is greatly appreciated. We need to approve the request for FMLA for Danielle Urbanski beginning on April 20th of 2022 and ending on approximately May 31st of 2022. We need to accept the resignation of Megan Anstud, district attendance officer / student outreach. Mrs. Anstud's resignation will become effective on June 30th of 2022. We need to approve Jim Zoltowski as a seasonal worker to maintain athletic fields and campus grounds as needed during the 2022 mowing season. Compensation set at $18 per hour at a maximum of 30 hours per week, beginning on March 28th. The superintendent or the superintendent's designee will make all work assignments. At this time, we just need a motion to approve the above listed personnel positions.
So support.
Any questions?
For the seasonal worker for mowing, that's same as last year, correct?
Correct. The hours scaled back, so we're starting him a little earlier to make sure things are good from the week.
I did a really nice job last year, so I just wanted to make sure it was safe.
Same position, different individual.
Okay.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Beckler,
Yes.
Mr. Murray, yes, Mrs. Keeper.
Yes, motion carries. This time we'll move on to other business. We need a motion to approve a 3-year negotiated agreement between the Evergreen Local Board of Education and the Evergreen Education Association as recommended by the board's negotiation team and ratified by the association. This agreement includes a 3% increase on the base salary in 22 and 23, a 2.5% increase on the base salary in 23-24, and a 2% increase on the base salary in 24-25. It also provides a cap for future insurance premium increases to limit the employer's share of the cost to provide health, vision, and dental insurance.
So moved. Support.
Any questions? All right, roll call.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Beckler,
Yes.
Mr. Murray, yes, Mrs. Keeper.
Yes, motion carries. This time we need a motion to approve existing policy revisions to current Evergreen Local Schools Board policy. The following policy revisions are recommended for approval, and you can see the list there. Questions? All right, roll call.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Beckler,
Yes.
Mr. Murray, yes, Mrs. Keeper.
Yes, motion carries. This time we need a motion for the Evergreen Local Board of Education to enter a single case agreement and funding authorization with Youth Villages for the sole purpose of providing educational services to an Evergreen student. Student services will be a per diem rate of $125.81.
So moved. Support.
Questions? All right, roll call.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Beckler,
Yes.
Mr. Murray, yes, Mrs. Keeper.
Yes, motion carries. Need a motion to approve continued participation in the OHI Optimal Health Initiatives Charter Works Compensation Group Rating Program for the 23 calendar year.
So moved.
Support.
Questions? Roll call.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Beckler,
Yes.
Mr. Murray, yes, Mrs. Keeper.
Yes, motion carries. At this time, we need a motion for the Evergreen Local Board of Education to enter service agreements with Mercy Health, St. Bede's Medical Center to provide athletic training services provided by certified athletic trainers. This agreement shall commence on August 1st of 22 and continue to effect for a period of 3 years unless otherwise terminated. Cost of the district is $13,875 annually. Previously, it was $15,000.
So moved. Support.
Any questions? All right, roll call.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Beckler,
Yes.
Mr. Murray, yes, Mrs. Keeper.
Yes, motion carries. At this time, Mr. Small, you want to take over discussion and information?
I just wanted to provide an update on the locker room renovation and expansion. Phase 1 of the project is complete and we have been granted occupancy. Space is being used, so that is good news. The work on phase 2 is fully underway. The exterior walls are completed and the floors have been poured. Work on the interior walls, HVAC and electrical is currently underway. The tentative completion date for the entire project is June 6th. Moving along as on schedule, so that is good news. Any questions on that?
They have a lot of that cleaned up for graduation.
Yes, we've already discussed that in one of our meetings. The one graduation is to make sure that it's campus is looking good. They'll be just finishing up before that, or that'll be just prior to them finishing up. So the construction trailer is being pulled out this week and they're shrinking their footprint overall. Any other questions on that?
Is there any work needed with the parking lot, everything after it's done?
We had a plan to redo the parking lot. We held off a year knowing construction was coming, so that is one of our summer projects on the schedule. Summer practices came up at the last board meeting after reviewing current practice policy in the athletic handbook. I believe the current policy allows for enough discretion to be made for Sunday exceptions, which would be in a rare case. Not sure how we would want to revise that policy, but if the board wants it revised, I'm more than willing to do so. Seems like it comes into play at the end of winter sports, the tournament time.
When you and I talked, I had said that I was comfortable leaving the verbiage the way it was, as long as we understood it was, your discretion. And like we said, it's generally that end of the winter tournament time. So I'm fine with leaving it the way it is, as long as we leave it to the air's discretion.
I agree. I'm fine with it.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it for the discussion and info. I have a few more items for my update.
All right, well, we're gonna start with Ms. Stringheim.
Good evening. Just an update, a couple things. Our pint-sized blood drive was successful, and according to the results, we saved 93 lives from people that helped donate during our drives. Thank you, everyone. Our spring fling was enjoyed by all of the students and the staff dancing. There was a photo booth there. The kids would just have a ball. This was funded through MVP. Instead of having a school fair this year, they decided to just let our kids have fun at school. And it was, they also received ice cream that day. So it was just really a fun time for everybody. Switching gears, a little bit more serious note is our testing is coming up for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. We start testing next week with our 3rd graders on March 29th and 31st. And then through April, we have all 3 grade levels testing in ELA and math, with the 5th graders finishing up in May 3rd and 4th with the science air assessments. So kudos to Dr. Swineford and our guidance counselor, Mrs. Levitsky, putting together the schedule and getting all of the accommodations made through the help of Christy Schmidlin and the interventionist specialists to make sure all of our students get the accommodations that they need to be successful on these tests. The teachers will begin putting together class lists. We have team meetings scheduled coming up for next week, so we'll be talking about that and how to create balanced classrooms to make sure that our students' needs are met through co-teaching and just putting together a nice schedule for class sizes and making sure that our students are ready to go in the fall. Realize is a program that's sponsored through the Ohio Optometric Association, and they're going to be on site April 28th and 29th to give our students some information on how to make sure that they have healthy eyes and what to do if they should have any kind of trouble with their sight, that they'll give them some information at those informational times in the classrooms. Spring pictures are coming up. Life Touch will be on site March 30th. Also, Life Touch yearbook orders were due March 17th. Amber Doble and Tori Wright are putting together the yearbook this year, and they are telling us that it's going to be the most awesome yearbook that we've ever had. So we're hoping that that will be the case. And then on March 8th, we had 12 teachers go to Evergreen training, so that now we have kindergarten, first, second grade teachers all trained on this new phonics program to be consistent throughout the grade levels. Any questions for me?
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Freeman. Mr. Rupert.
All right, seems like we were just here. I don't want to say that there's not a whole lot going on, but it's that time of year in middle school where kids and teachers are grinding away, getting ready for state testing. It's great just walking by classrooms and getting after it. Even today after a long week off. But our state testing dates are set for April 6th, 7th, 20th, 21st, 27th, 28th. I got a counselor who's awesome and has this all organized, veteran staff, they're ready to roll, so it should go pretty smoothly. We had 8th graders did a virtual tour of Ford County, and then they also met with Mrs. Brame and Mrs. Lumbreezer to start planning for scheduling for next year. You did receive invites to the district art show on April 8th, and then today we had 6th, 7th, and 8th graders participating in a virtual youth summit. It was sponsored by HC3 and the Fulton County Health Department. So that's about it at that point. We're grinding away on our last 9 weeks. There's no other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Rupert. Mr. Curtis.
Good evening, everybody. Hard to believe, but we're gearing up for graduation already. We've had end of February, we had a letter go out electronically to senior parents and sent through the mail with all kinds of important dates, things that are coming up, academic awards, banquets, senior graduation rehearsal dates, important need to know information for seniors. This year commencement will be as normal as it has been in the last several years. Going to be in the gym as we have been historically. I have had a couple of questions. I think most of those are prefaced off of concern from COVID in years past, but we're open for business. There's no limited capacity, so the more the merrier come graduation time. So kids and family members bring as many as you want, and we're looking forward to a great turnout at graduation. We announced through that mailing, we announced this year's valedictorian and salutatorian for the class of 2022. Congratulations to Owen Cromley as this year's valedictorian, and congratulations as well to Chloe Creaky, who is this year's salutatorian. So since we've shifted to the traditional to a weighted grading scale, this will be the first year I think in quite some time since we've shifted to the scale that we'll have one valedictorian, one true valedictorian, and one true salutatorian. So congratulations to both of those students. We're gearing up for junior senior prom. Tickets went on sale today through the Evergreen box office. Tickets are $50 for 11th and 12th graders, and then $70 for any guest. This will be the first year in quite some time that we've shifted away from Holland Gardens. Feedback we got from kids is Holland Gardens was great, but they'd like to change it up a little bit, do something a little bit different. I know our advisors look for a location that offered more than just dancing. We've got a lot of kids that enjoy having a good time, but maybe dancing isn't their thing. We're going to be offering prom at Buckland and Delta. In Delta, they offer some different things going on outside, cornhole games, different yard games that kids can do if they prefer not to dance, or if they want to do a little bit of both. It just gives a little bit more variety than what we've been able to offer in the past. So that will be coming up here on May 7th. We had, Mr. Ruffer had mentioned yearbooks, and I thought I would mention as well. Last year's after prom group, if you remember, we were unsure for quite some time whether or not we were going to have prom or not. So the after prom group wasn't able to be going fundraising until I believe late February. It's quite a task, as you know, raising funds for after prom. Typically, that's something that the group would start in October, do all kinds of fundraisers from October until prom time. This group didn't get started until February. And the overwhelming support of the community, they had thousands and thousands of dollars coming in even after the event. So they were able to sponsor and chaperone a couple of different things and provide monetary support to. So that one of the many things that group decided to invest in was buying a yearbook or purchasing a yearbook for every senior. So every senior this year is going to have a yearbook paid for by last year's after prom fundraising parent group. So a big huge thank you to them. That was a huge overwhelming task, I know, last year, and a huge outpouring of support from the community as a result of that. So just one of the many things that they're doing with the money that they raise from some of those from their efforts. We had senior graduate yard signs were distributed here just before spring break. So you'll probably see senior graduate yard signs coming around in people's yards. In the past, we used to wait till graduation rehearsal right before graduation to get those out. And because that families really like the students of other growth to be able to get signs in the yards to to acknowledge their graduates. So those are popping up in yards here now. And I know we'll have I've seen a couple AP Scholar yard signs as well. Those are slowly starting to go out. I know our AP staff members. This is, I think, the third year that we've done this. I know the AP staff have really liked. We've ordered signs, and they hit and canvas different parts of the county to be able to literally plant a sign in each of their AP students' yards. So AP students, if you've got any here that don't have a yard sign in your yard yet, see Mr. Slover or one of the other AP teachers canvassing your yard. So those will be out here soon. We had, sorry to talk to your office, a lot of things going on. We have about 160 students returned from Disney here Saturday, I believe. Everyone had a great time. Weather was great, with the exception, I think, of the last day was a little rainy, but I think everything seemed to go well. Kids had a really great time. We had a good group of parents and a good group of chaperones down, and everyone seemed to really enjoy themselves. So that's the trip that I believe they do every 4 years. So that way every student has a chance to participate in that trip at some point in time during their time. Last but not least, we did have Owen Cromley. I think I had mentioned at our last board update that he was an Evergreen representative for the Franklin B. Walters Scholarship. He was, I believe, at the board meeting last month, was the same evening that they held that ceremony, and Owen was actually chosen as the regional winner. So he will represent the 4-county Northwest Ohio area in Columbus. I believe he's going to be participating remotely on May 3rd. So it's a huge honor. He chosen Mr. Rosen as one of his acknowledged teachers. So typically students that qualify for the Franklin B. Walter would honor essentially a teacher that's been most influential during their time here at Evergreen, and be representing Mr. Rosen. So kudos and congratulations to both of those individuals. That's all I got. Is there any questions?
Thank you. Eric.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. We just wrapped up winter sports. Bowling had a great competitive season. Probably one of the biggest teams we've had here in about the past 7 years. Girls and boys basketball were able to make the OHSA sectional finals, and wrestling had an OHSA district placer in that of Brody Setmeyer. So winter athletics went really well. We had 182 athletes out competing through 7th through 12th grade. As of right now, we have 167 out for spring seasons. Some just little tidbit that I thought was exciting was we had 40+ student athletes out for our middle school track team. We have 40+ out for our high school track team, and 40+ out for our high school baseball team, which I think is phenomenal. I'm excited for our spring sports teams. I'd say all 3, baseball, softball, track, all have great shots of bringing home some NWA titles and making a strong push in the postseason. Also excited to announce that we're going to be offering an NWOAL Spring Leadership Conference. We had one of these in the winter, but we've opened it back up because we think it's a great impact for our kids. And we've actually modified it. Before it was just 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. We're actually going to shift down into the middle school and give an offering to that of the 8th graders. So hopefully we can build some leadership skills in our 8th graders as our incoming freshmen for next year as well. I'm in the process of that selection process currently. Lastly, we have a trial run this spring. We're trying to continuously move and modernize athletics to the best of our ability, creating some efficient processes. With that, I am trying to move pay to play to an online procedure through Final Forms. We already have a Stripe account for our hometown ticketing. But utilizing Stripe, we're able to set up and follow our formatted structure of pay to play. And with that being said, parents are going to be able to directly pay for their students through the Final Forms format. Coaches be able to see payment, parents be able to see payment, admin be able to see payment. It helps to eliminate the need of mailing a check, dropping a check off, hoping it gets the right mailbox. Someone, which has happened multiple times, someone putting cash in an envelope and then putting that in my mailbox, but I don't know who that cash may belong to, so then you're calling people to help eliminate some of those secretarial tasks and move along with, like I said, moving that athletics into a little more of the 21st century as much as possible. And parents will also be provided an email receipt of payment, and it follows our pay to play format, $75 individually, $200 for the family. Outside of that, are there any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Small.
A few things to add regarding the lunch program that was already mentioned. Guidance provided last week by the Ohio Department of Education stated that federal appropriations for next school year did not contain language or funding to extend pandemic child nutrition waivers for school meals. Current program waivers expire on June 30th, so unless something changes, which they are not expecting, the free breakfast and lunch for every student will end with this school year. Summer school, we will be using federal ESSER funds to offer summer school classes on campus this year. Information will be sent to families about offerings in April. Regarding the 5th grade, we continue to explore the possibility of moving the 5th grade to the middle school in the future. The goal of a move would be to offer 5th grade students additional learning opportunities in a middle school setting. I plan to present information regarding the potential move at the April board meeting and answer any questions. So some of the work that we've done, I want to share with the board and what we then need to look at in the direction we need to go. This would not be a move for next school year. It would be for the following year or after. And last item, on Wednesday, we will host a career day for juniors and seniors in partnership with Ohio Means Jobs Fulton County and the Fulton County Economic Development Corporation. 30 employers will be present for the event. And then after school concludes, the career fair will be open to community members looking for employment. So we've had a great response from the community, people in need of employees. So they'll do mock interviews, resume writing skills, and hiring kids who are looking for employment. So, any questions?
All right. Are there any board members with questions or concerns? Elementary principal, is that scheduled?
We have interviews scheduled for this week with second round next week.
And then we had discussed, I believe, maybe before the holidays, a public forum for drug testing.
Yes.
We want to do that before the athletic books are done, so we can get it, any, feedback and get that in there.
That is on my radar. We will have something scheduled. We don't have a date yet, but we will do it in April.
Okay.
We host the community forum and get the feedback before we do anything with that policy.
All right. Is there any further? All right. So at this time, I need a motion for the members of the Evergreen Local Board of Education, Superintendent, Treasurer, and invited guests to go into executive session for the following reasons: to consider the employment of public employees. There will be no action after the executive session at this time. So I just need a motion.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Beckfield?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mrs. Weaver?
Yes, motion carries. All right, this time, if there's any students who had anything for Mr. Blanchard, Mr. Curtis.